Hey, Todd Falcone here, back with another marketing tip for you, and that is, in business, you've probably heard this phrase, don't assume anything because you tend to make an ass out of you and me. That's an old phrase. Typically, the only person that you do that with is yourself when you make assumptions, and it's, again, as human beings, we have gut feeling, we have intuition. Intuition can turn into assumption, and then we end up acting on that intuition, that assumption. And a lot of times, quite frankly, our gut is right. But you have to be very, very careful not to assume something. Now, again, I'm not saying don't go with your gut, don't go with your intuition. A gut and intuition, good stuff. But before you choose to react to it and fire back, for example, or confront, or whatever the situation might be, given whatever the situation it is that you're in, don't assume it without actually having all the information. So very important that you don't become reactionary, because if you assume something and then you fire back, for example, you fire back an email based on an assumption, or you call up and you're angry at based on an assumption, or whatever it might be, you're asking for trouble. So make sure it's based on evidence, facts, real stuff, not simply an assumption, and not simply a gut feeling. You could have a gut feeling about something, and chances are that you're right, but if you react based solely upon that gut feeling, it's really not fact. And if you're looking to expand relationships in business, grow your business, grow the amount of people that you're doing business with, reacting based on an assumption or a gut feeling is simply a recipe for disaster. So just make sure you think about that. Hey, great, get that gut feeling. Gut feeling is going to, may turn into an assumption, or you might just have an assumption not based on a gut feeling, and then you have to think before you act. I have a very good friend of mine, for example, that what he'll do is, let's say something happens to him in business, or he feels a need to respond, he'll type up his response or his email, and in this case, maybe it's a confrontational email, he's got to address a conflict or something like that. Before he presses the send button, he leaves his computer, he takes off for a little bit, maybe even a day, and doesn't send it until he gets a chance to kind of sit on it and get whatever other facts and figures in place, and about 80% of the time he ends up not pressing the send button. So just think about that, because the moment you do press send, I've made that mistake based on an assumption. Just the result is not it's not going to be what you want. So just remember that in business, don't assume anything. We'll see you on another tip.